Hello, viewers and listeners. We are live, and this is the Seven City Shop Talk Sports Show post-game wrap-up rapid reaction for the UVA versus the Clemson Tigers football game that just ended. I'm your host, Big Law Lawrence Johnson. Of course, we got AB in the house, one of the ladies of the 757 Sports Show, Sports Seven City Shop Talk Sports team. AB, what's going on, girl?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just hate a loss. You hate a loss. Even
You
though we
hate
knew
a
it was
little.
coming. Even though we knew it was coming. But you still hate a loss.
I agree with some of that. I think for me it's it's a lesson. It's a lesson game. I think that our kids, hopefully we didn't have any major injuries. That's one of them. It's one of my first things that I worry about when you're playing a team like this. That's typically bigger and stronger than you, faster than you. A lot of times your kids can get unnecessarily banged up or get just banged up over the course of a game, and it almost cripples you for the next 2, 3 games, and sometimes for the rest of the year based off of how many games are left. But
Mm-hmm.
UVA losing 48-31, and you know this is what I can say. The boys played hard. They kept going at it. They did not give up, and I felt like they were. Uh, you know, they made mistakes. Like most teams make mistakes during games, but I don't think they did themselves any favors as well. You go ahead and give me some of your opinion on this. I know you have some things to say. How you feel about this?
I mean, there's only when you like you said, there's a team. They're bigger, they're stronger, they're faster than us. It comes down to it. I think that what disappointed me the most was the same thing that I said on the pregame show.
Okay.
Playing to win instead of playing not to lose.
Okay.
We did exactly what I said I didn't want us to do, which was
One quick thing, AB viewers and listeners, if you're there, go ahead and throw your comments in, and we'll discuss them as well. Give us your opinions, rapid reaction. Let us know how you feel. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Continue.
you're fine. I felt like we did exactly that. We played not to lose. We went up ahead and we just laid down. I felt like we took the foot off of the gas. We weren't as aggressive. We didn't make the play calls on offense that were as aggressive as what I expected. Those first two drives, we came out so strong, and then it was like, oh, we're ahead. Let's play it safe now. Like, this was not a game you could play safe, and I felt like we did just that. I mean, you even saw it. Even if both teams put in the second string, so what? We
Mm-hmm.
came out of halftime so just blah. Um, the energy wasn't there. We knew they were getting the ball back at half, and we didn't come out with the energy that we needed to and the aggression that we needed to win this game. And they scored and they took all the momentum, and we were done after that. There was no aggression like I wanted to see throughout the start to the finish of the game.
Okay. I can agree with that. I felt like what's going on to our viewers and listeners? My man Antonio Appleby's in the building. He says he's done. Fire Elliott. He doesn't care for the rest of the season at this point. Peggy is saying, I'm still not sold on Kitchens. And then of course, Kobe Carnes. What's going on, Kobe? Ain't seen you in a little bit. He says musket in all caps. This is what I'll say. I think it did come off the gas a little bit. I think that they could have been a little more aggressive, but I said this in the beginning. Uh-oh. Okay. We got my man Ed in the building. What's going on? Our writer, Ed the writer. What's going on, Ed? How you doing, Ed?
Sound.
You're on. You're on live. But
Here we go.
there you are.
Had trouble finding the volume for the tears. So what's new?
No, just speaking about the game.
It's
Just kind of figuring out
I
how
mean,
we win.
it's about. I mean, they're the number 10 team in the country playing at their place, which is notoriously a tough place to play as it is. It wasn't quite the as bad as I thought it could be. We couldn't run the ball. We didn't kill ourselves with turnovers. We just couldn't run the ball. We get 60 yards of rushing, something like that. This is a different team when they can run the ball. I don't know whether that says more about us our offensive line or their defense. Their defense, from what I've seen of it, is pretty good. So we just got beat. I don't know. I gotta. It's a little early yet, but I'll watch the game a couple more times and figure it out, I guess.
Okay.
The gut reaction is we couldn't run the ball, and this is a very different team when they can run the ball.
I agree with that. Now AB, hold on one second. I'm gonna mute you. We get enough feedback. So now AB, are you in agreement with some of that? I know that you're, and I know Antonio's on here. He said, "Here comes the QB controversy and Musk's red shirt." Now, let me ask you, how do you feel about that? About that quarterback controversy statement Antonio made?
I'm gonna be honest. If they would have put Musket in and faced the same defense that AC did, then we would have an argument here. But I still can't be on Musket's side and say, hey, let's make a change at quarterback when we didn't see him face the same defense that yes, of course, he may have looked better at the end of the game, but he wasn't facing the same defense that AC did the whole game. I mean, that defense wore us down. So I feel like there could have been a controversy if they both faced that's the same side of the ball, but they didn't. Did he look good? I mean, Musket looked good. I'm not even gonna lie. I feel like overall, if he was better, then he would have came in a lot sooner in the game. But I don't know. I still love AC. So
Chris West says, "I can't believe NFL teams are lining up to hire Dez." That's news. I didn't know that either.
No, he's saying he can't believe it's like a joke, and it's true.
Okay.
Like he's a freaking joke.
Okay. Yeah. Antonio says, "We're literally watching his career die before our eyes." Ooh. Sorry for the people that are seeing the big picture. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I feel like there's more to this team. There's a lot more I feel like these guys could accomplish. We're just starting to see them feed Chris Tyree. Terrell Harris wasn't there. I said in the beginning of the game, before we get to that, I said this is going to be a game in the trenches. Our big boys up front. And our big boys up front, God bless them, they just could not deal with the onslaught. They got at least 3 guys that are going to be playing on Sundays and are probably going to be drafted very high as well. When the NFL draft comes around for looking for them when they're eligible. I just don't, and I hate saying this, I don't like using this, but I have to say this. We're at a talent deficit, a clear talent deficit. And it wasn't close. It wasn't close. If you named every position they had against us, they were more talented at every position. And the thing about it, what's crazy about it, is the 2 top receivers who are Clemson's go-to guys didn't even play. And they still put up that many points with us on us. So that kind of should give us a little bit of a reality check to understand that, wow, this is a team that is still on the rise. I don't know. I know Kobe's even saying, he says, got to be better in the trenches. Yeah. The guys did what they can do. I just think that they were just outmanned, outspeeded, and just do better. And he says a huge game, winnable game next week. Well, that's why I'm worried about the injuries. We talk about the game next week. let's think about the players. Hopefully they have some health, because at the post game hug, when the coaches handshake and hug each other, Dabo told Tony, get to the bowl game, and that's what needs to be the focus for this program right now. If you would have told us we'd be 4-3 right now, you still wouldn't believe us at the beginning of the year. At this point in the season, tell me, am I wrong, Ed?
No, there are a lot of people on this program even that didn't think we were going to win 4 games all year. I mean, but it's not to say that I'm happy winning just 4. I think if you'd asked me at the start of the season, would you be happy with 4 wins? Probably, because we had 3 last year. But there's upside with this team. At least I think so. But it's got to get better. Today was a good benchmark for us. We see where we have to improve to get where we want to go. You can say we got our heads handed to us, or you can say this is how far we have to go. This is what we have to do. This is where we have to get better.
Okay, yeah, very good, man. Let me come to you, AB. What did you think on that question there?
So, I mean, overall, I kind of like, as the more I'm sitting here thinking, I thought a lot about Antonio and I's conversation that we've had previously. I think we're at the point where we need to incorporate a dual quarterback system, because each of them have their different talents. I think that we need to incorporate that. Just because I think AC is great on his feet, and I think Musket has a little bit more confidence, but confidence doesn't always mean you're the better quarterback. I just think he has more confidence in the pocket. So those two things combined, I think, could make us really dynamic there, now that I'm kind of seeing both things. But it goes back to the coaching staff, because I'm going to agree with Chris West right here. Who recruited those players? The people that are getting the big bucks on the sidelines. We're not good. We're not strong enough, and the talent deficit is there because we aren't doing a good enough job that we need to do on the coaching staff to get better players and better talent on our team. And what we need to do that, I'm not sure, but we're lacking on in-state recruiting significantly, and I said we were going to win 4 games. There's a huge chance that we may not win another game the rest of the season, because this is the time of season where you're starting to see some injuries. Not everybody's 100%, and this is the toughest part of our schedule, the second half. Thank God we have a bye week in the middle of it. I would like to be optimistic and think that we still could win some games, but we've let a couple games that we should have won already get through our fingertips. And in my opinion, it just all goes back to coaching. I'm not pleased with winning 3 games last year and winning 4 this year. Just because that's an improvement, there's no way, even though we're not as talented as Clemson, we still have talented athletes that are capable of winning games. We just aren't using them to the best of their ability. We're not utilizing the talent correctly. We're making horrible play calls. We're taking out the aggression when we should be keeping our foot on the gas. It's just a lot of mismanaged gameplay, and it all goes back to the leadership of this team, and the main leader is Tony Elliott.
You want to follow up on that, Ed?
Yeah, we definitely have a long way to go, and I don't think there's a question about there being a talent gap. But I don't think that we started on the same level playing field that Clemson did. When Tony Elliott came in, it was bad. I think maybe we've forgotten how bad it was. There's an old saying in football: when you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none. If we don't have the guy to lead us forward, yeah, that's definitely a problem. If AC can't or won't, adjust, and I don't think AC was the problem today. I think a lot of it is the offensive coordinator, and we've had issues before with coordinators. Um, if it's if Tony doesn't want to get rid of Dez, then yeah, we may have to start over. But I'm a little hesitant to fire just clear house and start over again 3 years into a fairly major rebuild.
My man, James is making a statement here.
Yeah,
He says
yeah,
that
that's
UVA is
that's
getting better, other than today. They have been in every game this year. They won more games than they have lost. Hardly anybody beats Clemson, and that's another thing. We necessarily can't gauge ourselves against Clemson like that. As much as we want to, as much as we want to try to cut the heads off of everything based off of how bad this loss was and how good the other teams were, or the other team was. I don't know. Clemson does this to just about everybody. They do this to just about everybody. And as far as the recruiting, they've actually recruited a lot better these last 2 years than they have when he first got
the
here.
classes have gotten better.
Yeah, the classes have gotten better.
I mean,
it's better.
Like I said, I'm a little hesitant to clean house just because we're just starting to show results. It's
right.
We had, this is tough for me to say. We had pretty much zero chance to beat Clemson. We were not going to beat Clemson today unless something seriously crazy went wrong.
Like the bus.
We're not that good right now.
Not yet.
My wife was pointing out that when she and I first started dating, there was Virginia was playing, I think it was Georgia Tech, and we were down 3 late in the game. The drive stalled out, and they kicked the field goal to tie. We wound up tying.
I'm like, we tied.
I was pissed, and she was just bouncing off the walls. We tied. We didn't lose. That was just 40 years ago.
Yeah, and we didn't lose 48-0 like we did that one time against Clemson. So
yeah,
and we didn't lose by more than 4 touchdowns.
It's not.
So it's not.
But it's
not
I think
the baby out with the bathwater.
It's starting over again. I don't get rid of Dez, and if Dez is a problem, then yeah, Tony's got to go to.
Tony's going to have to start calling plays. In my opinion,
something's got to change.
Calling plays for it's over with because that's his.
Something's got to change.
Now Applebee's making a statement here, and he's saying still no in-state recruiting. Check. He's right on that. We need to do better on in-state recruiting. Even though before that we had 0 in-state recruiting when Bronco was here, so he actually has done a little better with getting players from in-state, whether they be freshmen or they be older players coming back to play here. And he says, make a move, be ready. All right, if that's the case, who are we going to replace him with? Who's going to want to come to Virginia and all of a sudden make this a high-end football factory? Because we can't even get people in the stands right now. And, I mean, it'll have to be somebody who's a grassroots player coming from a coach from out somewhere. I don't know. I don't know if Dex, Antonio, I don't know if Dex would want to come here. It had to be that. Huh?
We still want Dex, but I'm hearing y'all. But
Dex, I don't know if Dex will come.
But I'm hearing y'all. But how many times are we going to continue to make excuses for mediocrity?
I'm not making excuses.
No. Okay, well,
it's not an excuse.
I'm just saying, like, we keep settling for just being a little bit better than the year before. But it's like this is why people don't show up to games. People are tired of just winning enough to maybe get to a bowl game.
We're not a football factory. That's what we need to understand too. We're not a football factory. We could be a competitive and a good football program, but in order to even be considered like in the Clemson or in the stratosphere of a power, we need to build slowly. We're not that team that's going to come in and all of a sudden be good, be really good, be competitive, and be dominant. We have to, as the program we have to take our lumps, and I get it. We want to be good. We want to, place all the blame on where the blame somewhat belongs. But, we've had one 10-win season in our entire existence of Virginia football. I just feel like I want us to be great. I want us to be really good, but I also understand that we have, we kick them out, and we bring in somebody else. You think the attendance is bad now? Who are they going to bring in that's going to make it better? That's going to want to be associated with Virginia football. I think right now we're winning. We have a winning program a winning record. Okay. We still got to come from the mud, as we would say, where I'm from. We still got to keep going the hard way. And, it's going to have to be a slow build unless we get somebody like an Arch Manning who does something, cosmic and comes to a program like ours. That's what Virginia Tech had. They had somebody cosmic like Michael Vick go there and turn it into something. We haven't had that here. We need to have that person who can come, or that player, or that staff that wants to come here and be part of something that's really a mediocre to a low performing football program to make it happen. I get it. We're not selling for the mediocrity. We're not trying to make excuses. I just think that we also have to be realistic on, all right, like Antonio says, get him out of here. Who we gonna bring in? And I don't think Dex will want to come here after being at Penn State. And after the way that, they treated
the way things ended.
The way it ended, the way they treated Biscuit, the way they kind of shunned him as well when he wanted to try to come back, and they said, the whole fiasco with Bronco and all that. That'd be great if he would. It's almost like a Don Staley thing. Why would Don, even if she wanted to coach the girls or whatever, some people are saying have Don coach the boys. Why would she want to come back in any capacity here after they treated her coach that way? Then, right, that's what I'm saying. It's a lot of things that UVA has, a lot of demons that UVA is going to have to deal with.
Well, I think that when I say what I said, like, okay, yeah, what if we don't get rid of Tony Elliott? But at the end of the day, if that's what we're wanting to go to, we need to have a coach that is the head coach that has some balls enough to say, hey, you're my offensive coordinator. You're not getting the job done. You need to have a seat.
Now, that's what I've been saying
he
for 2
needs
weeks.
to take control. If he's not able to do that, then he's not the person for the job.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. If he doesn't want to fire the guy that's holding his back.
He's okay. He's okay. As of right now, the way it looks to me is he's okay with how these things are taking place, because he's not standing up and saying, you know what, I'm the head coach. This isn't going the way that I want it to go. You're not doing things that you need to do. So you're going to have a seat and I'm going to take over for you. If he's not willing to make the changes he needs to make to win games, then he's not the coach for us.
Well, that's what I was saying for 2 weeks. I've been saying that. I've been saying we need, either Carla's going to have to come to him and say, hey, we need better play calling. I hired you because you're the top play caller at Clemson. You guys put up a lot of points. It's your turn to take those reins. And usually before coaches get fired, whether you're, a defensive or an offensive coach, you usually are going to have to take over what side of the ball you were, your strength was.
I don't feel like Carla should have to do that though. You're saying
kind of her job, though.
Like,
but it's
also his job to manage his team. If his team's not winning and and the coaching staff is not doing their job, he needs to take a step.
It needs to happen on both ends, AB. You're right, but it has to happen on both ends. Carla needs to say it, even though Tony's in charge. It's still going to have to happen from a coach standpoint, from their level, but also just as a reminder, just as this is what needs to happen. Just so it's all documented and it's out in the open. I'm saying you need to do this. So it needs to happen from both ends. Tony needs to make it from internally by itself, and Carla needs to possibly say it as well.
Yeah. And like you said, if he's not willing to make that change, then he's not the guy for us.
That's a different animal. Yeah, that's a different animal. That right there now.
Yeah.
Now, like if he pulls a Bronco and says, I'm not changing. The Broncos said, I'm not. These guys are my family. I'm not changing anything. So it'll be a mutual split, or he's going to have to be out, because that's what happened with Bronco, correct?
Yeah, that's why Bronco's not still here. He didn't want to get rid of the defensive coordinator, so he had to go too.
Yeah, and Bronco said, I'm out.
Yeah, I understand. I respect you for not wanting to fire the guy, but if that's how many times that year, that Broncos last year, did we say if we could just get off the field?
Yeah, and Tony was saying we're selling for mediocrity. First, he said no excuses, just results.
Agree to disagree.
He said this slide can slide very quickly, but hey, okay. And then he says we are selling for mediocrity. Well, then
I don't think so.
For me, I mean, I don't think we're selling for mediocrity. I just think that we're not where we think we are.
Well, maybe the question is, where do we want to be?
Well,
that might be the better question.
We want to win freaking games.
Oh, I mean, no kidding.
I mean,
I got that part. Is that why we're keeping score? Great.
You can't do that if you have somebody that's just okay with whatever happens. This man is not taking a step forward for his team.
We don't know that.
Well, then why are we still here?
I don't know.
I think
that's a good question.
I think it's a combination, y'all. I think it's a combination. I think that we're still lacking some areas still lacking in talent. Because if you put our roster up against a lot of rosters in the ACC, we're actually we are overstepped. We're out kicking our coverage. We're beating teams. Outside of Richmond, our rosters aren't as good.
If we're middle of the pack, I'm surprised.
The teams that we beat have better recruiting classes than us the past 3 years.
Yeah.
Can any of us deny that? So that's a coaching thing, meaning, okay, they're coaching above their means and they're winning games they probably shouldn't. And this what makes this disagreement or this argument or this subject a little more dicey, because they actually have won 4 games, should have won a 5th game already. And they let one slip away last week.
At least one.
So, huh?
I'd say at least one.
Yeah, at least one. So you think, okay, well, damn, where are the points that we can get better? I don't think we're selling for the media. I think they're actually coaching up what they have now. And now they can go get, who's out there. Would you take a Urban Meyer?
No.
All see there.
Hell no.
You on that, AB? Antonio, if Urban Meyer wanted to come here, would you take an Urban Meyer with all the baggage and all the mess? Or what's my guy that was on a motorcycle with his girlfriend from Arkansas?
The guy at Arkansas. What is?
He
was at Louisville, then he went to Arkansas.
Yeah.
I mean, we give all these hypotheticals, but it's working with what we have. Just like the team is working with what they have, the coaches need to work with what they have here. And at the end of the day, like I said, the head coach is the head coach and gets paid the money for a reason. He has the opportunity to make decisions for his team to win games. Do I feel like he's doing that? Absolutely not. So
who do we go get then?
Louisville and Maryland, we can sit here and talk about Clemson. I'm not even worried about Clemson. We knew today probably wasn't going to be a win, but there's no excuse. We were out coached for Maryland and Louisville. Those are games we should have won. And we can say shoulda, coulda, woulda, but at the end of the day, as the season goes on, we see that there's a serious problem on our coaching staff. If we want to even win enough games to get to a bowl game, we have to stand up now and make the decision to do what we need to do to win games the rest of the season.
Okay,
if we're not able to do that, then it is what it is.
I have a question.
Okay.
How many times do you see an offensive coordinator fired during the season?
I'm not saying fire him. Take the initiative to sit him down and make the calls. Show him what he needs to do. You're the head coach for a reason. You were offensive coordinator.
You don't think they've had that conversation?
They have.
Is Elliott making the calls?
I don't know.
He's not. Kitchens is still in control.
I can't believe they haven't had that conversation at some point in time. Why it hasn't had a change, I can't say. I'm not in the room with them.
We can talk and talk and talk and talk and talk.
Right.
We need action. Action.
Well, maybe he's not acting because he can't act.
Well, I think that's
maybe he's not allowed to.
Well, then Carla does need to go. Then, if she's not allowing Tony Elliott to make those type of decisions to win games, then they all need to go.
You just don't see guys fired during the season.
I don't know. I don't know if that's the case either. I don't know if that's the case. I
didn't say fire him in the middle of the season. We see stuff happen all the time.
Take his job away from him.
The Jets just fired their freaking head coach because they said it's not enough. But I'm saying, if we're sitting here, this is now year 3, and you can say we rebuild, but when those guys came to this university, they didn't have to rebuild. They had a ton of talent thrown right at them, and they did nothing with it. So what excuse do we have now?
I don't know. We had a ton of talent, AB.
We didn't have the talent. I think we had now that we had 3 years ago.
We had some talent. We didn't have a ton of talent.
We did.
Bronco and them, to be honest, they weren't miracles. To be honest, they weren't miracles of what they had. For the first year or two, he'd only had 3. He said himself, he admitted he only had 3, 4 Division I football players.
Remember when we had the Cal because he said he was talking about playable depth?
Yeah. They weren't miracles. That year we went to the Orange Bowl with Bryce Perkins and all them. That was wizardry. And a lot of that came from our quarterback, of course. You know, he was ahead of his time a little bit, and he was very special. And we had we're good in some different areas, kind of like this team. We're good in certain areas. We weren't like totally dominant hardly anywhere, but they worked some wizardry to get to where we went to. What's going on, Nate? And my man Antonio Appleby, Larry, everybody in the chat, Timothy, all my folks, they throwing it in there. Kobe Carnes, Nate Thomas says no coach here will win here. Okay, this is going off the rails from a simple fact, from a recruiting standpoint, because there's money involved now. You know, and there's there's always been stuff going on, but now, will Virginia put his money where his mouth is? I get it, and they just built, a new facility, and they're trying to make us more of a football-centric place here in Central Virginia. But will they totally go even more in, and put more emphasis on the football program and throw the money at players, because that's where it's going, because they're not going to get better based off of the way that we do things, the way we've always done things, and the way that we're doing it now. The way that you get better, and it sounds like we want to get better fast. The way we get better fast is you got to start throwing money at people. That's why Tony Bennett left, right? We don't want to build fast and build quickly, and to put your money resources into recruiting kids with money. This has just not been the MO of this school, and it goes against every fiber of what this school has always meant. Give me some solutions, AB and Antonio, and some of our viewers and listeners out there. Give me some solutions. We're
sitting here talking about money. We're sitting here talking about money, right? So we're throwing a year. Well, this says his contract began in 2022. And he's getting $4.1 million a year with a $150,000 increase every other year, reaching a peak of $4.55 million by 2027. So right now he is at $4.3 million. We are throwing $4.3 million at a coach that's not showing results, like full results that we need to be. You got 3 years. You've had some time to make adjustments. I just don't feel like I'm looking for him to truly make the decisions that he needs to make to win games. Yes, the money you got to throw at the players too. Yeah, UVA is not known for having NIL deals like that, to be throwing money at these big players, to these big 5-star recruits. But at the end of the day, there's still players out there we can get. We just don't have a good reputation. And honestly,
Right.
Our best in-state recruiter was Marcus Hagans, and we ruined that because of how this coaching staff talked to him. So you've got Marcus Hagans, who's at Penn State, who's coming to Virginia and getting guys that should be coming to Virginia. That reputation has been ruined from how we've treated our own people.
To be honest, as good as Biscuit was, and he did help get recruits here, it wasn't Biscuit getting all the kids. We're still at a deficit from
We
recruiting the
still are. I'm
state.
just saying we lost one
You
piece that was
know,
getting those people.
for sure, for sure.
And he was one person that was able to talk to people about what football at UVA meant. We don't really have a lot of people on that squad right now that can recruit and explain what UVA football means. I mean, we've got Mike Collins, I think he's a grad assistant coach. We also have Mike Moore, who is Sean Moore's son, who is a grad assistant coach.
Slade.
You know, we've got Slade, but it's still not. I feel like we've lost that UVA family mentality that we've always had, which has been able to sell high quality in-state recruits. I feel like we've lost that touch, which is why we're losing those guys. So we can throw money at it, but I just feel like the most money I'm seeing is being thrown at a head coach, and we need him to use that salary to his benefit and be the head coach and make those decisions.
The salary, huh? Yeah, I mean, I agree with you on some of that. I just think, UVA is going to have a heart-to-heart. Who is in the Wizard of Oz? The Tin Man, right? UVA is going to have to turn themselves into the Tin Man and check their heart and say, okay, what do we really want to be? It has to happen, and figure out, all right, are we going to sell out? Are we going to be true to our core? Are we going to be because and Antonio makes a point too. The fans are out. So are we going to totally commit bringing a successful football, supercharged football program, builder and success, with all these high-end coaches, go out with somebody who knows how to recruit the highest kids throughout the country, not just the state of Virginia? Or are we gonna, sit on our tablets and just be, continue to be totally, academic first? That's what we're gonna have to, figure this out, because as we start to struggle with attendance, fans realize this. We have four wins. We're 4-1 before our last 2 losses, and we had an embarrassment of a show out of the crowd. Then we had another one, the same thing, an embarrassment of the fans showing out. I wonder how this will be with the Carolina. Now, the Carolina game may wind up being semi-packed because it's a rivalry, and they'll just come up, 85 or 95 to get here, and probably turn that into a little bit more of a game, because Carolina folks always travel well, especially to here. So, I don't know. It'll be full. The stadium probably be, half or more than halfway full, or 2/3, more than 2/3 full, based off of the away team that's there. But for me, I mean, we got to have a heart. You got to have a heart to heart. We got to have a heart check. And check where and see where we want to be after that check. Are we going to go and be a football program? Are we going to fill the stands? We want to focus on that, and then, and win and blow people out and be a football factory? Or are we going to continue to be a basketball and Olympic sports school that focuses on totally academics first? Let me come to you, Ed. What do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's time we decide what it is we want. You're going to have a hard time finding a lot of people that are happy with 3-8, but sometimes you just have a 3-8 team.
And not to cut you off, Ed, but not to get me wrong, this loss should not have brought this conversation out.
You're right. You're exactly right.
Because we
maybe Louisville or Maryland, sure.
Right.
But not this one. We didn't expect to win this. I think what drives a lot of it is frustration. I think we started to think, oh, we're 4-1. We can, we're talking division title. Well, we don't have divisions anymore. Never mind. We're thinking New Year's Day Bowl or something. I don't know what people were thinking. I think we were thinking that we were a lot better than we really are. When I looked at this team at the start of the season, I saw 5 wins, and I wasn't sure about the 5th one. Just being honest. So we're already at 4. Is this season a total washout? No, but again, we have to decide.
That's what it sounds like.
What? Yeah, it does kind of that. Yeah, a couple of times after games, I've looked at the score. Like, we did win, didn't we? Listen, like I said, like I was saying earlier with the Georgia Tech game, it's a question of perspective. I hate losing. My wife was so used to losing that a tie felt like a win. That we're not that bad. We're not to that point. But it's fair to ask, what is it you want? What is considered a good season at Virginia? I mean, do you have to go undefeated? Is it like Alabama? If you're not playing in a national title game, it's a waste of a season. Don't think that's going to happen. Right. Would most people be happy with like 9-3?
Hold on, Ed. AB,
yeah.
I need you to come in on some of this, AB. Talk to me. What do you feel, AB, about what I just said about the heart check? What are we going to be?
Yeah,
are we going to
exactly.
be? Go ahead.
There's that. I think that like I've said before, he came in so strong, and I think he came in too strong. So now he's had to fix that. And so it's like trying to figure out who they are as a coaching staff, who we are as a team. That's a big conversation. But to go off of what Ed says, I think that fans just want to see some consistency. I don't think it has to be a numbers per se, but to get people back into the seats, we need consistency. And I'm not meaning consistency losing. We need consistency winning. And it doesn't have to be a 9-10 win season. It needs to be, we can start off at 6-7 wins, but we need consistent 6-7 wins that develop to 8 wins, to develop to better. But
absolutely,
as long as we can't keep settling for 3-4 win seasons. That's why people aren't coming back.
Look at Nate. Nate makes a great comment here. He goes, this conversation needed to be had when Bronco left. I think he was frustrated with having to take a knife to a gun to a knife fight, or a knife to a gunfight. I'm sure Bennett felt the same. Sure, because a lot of other programs are more dedicated to the athletic side, as opposed to being firstly known as a academic institution. And most, in quotations, every academic institution is supposed to be known for that first, but really, Virginia is what I like to call a public ivy. So it's almost like it's not quite, when a child comes here, they're totally our academics is supposed to be the only thing on their minds, but here, you do have a little bit of a sports angle, and and football being, quite frankly, in my opinion, the hardest sport to build from the ground up. Takes more resources to build. You need more. You need a lot more players on the same page. There's just so much more needed to build. Basketball, you can have a guy like Ralph Sampson come in and totally change, and have a little bit better than average players around him, and have a guy like Ralph, and your whole program is transformed. A little different for football, and some of the other Olympic sports, same kind of thing. You can have a few good players. Football, it just takes a longer time to build. Would you take a guy like Dion, to the University of Virginia? Right. So look at Ed, who, is it going to take that kind of a personality to build this program?
I think it would be fun to watch, tough to sit through.
Look, Ethan says 9-10 is expectable. Okay, that's expectable here. What do we do? The biggest thing is some consistency. Okay, we all want consistency. You're right, Ethan. You said, we are the wine and cheese. We can't deny that. As many people get
Don't
upset
forget the
about
Zima.
that statement. Don't forget the what?
Zima. Don't forget Zima.
Right. We can't deny that. I mean, as much as we want to, try to shuck that, that idea about who we are as a fan base, when people are looking in on us, that's what we look at. That's what we look like, and that's what we perform like. And, whenever the fan base or the crowd has an opportunity to change that narrative, they just haven't either. So, it's not just the staff, is also the crowd. The stadium across the state, win or lose, they still at 80, 85, 90% capacity. Liberty, those squats. Somebody just said Liberty here. Liberty came out of nowhere.
Indulge the old head here for a minute. Back when we had our renaissance under Al Groh, one of the things that Al wanted the fans, he wanted to change the atmosphere, change the environment. And one of the things he said was just stand up and yell. Well, somebody got the bright idea to put that on a t-shirt. So they sold scads of them. And you show up for the first game of the next season, and you stand up and you yell, and the next thing you know, the usher is tapping you on the shoulder, telling you need to sit down because the little old lady behind you can't see.
Right.
There, I'm perfectly willing to do what they said they wanted us to do, and I can't do that. So yeah, it's probably time. It's way past time to have that conversation. What do you want to be?
I don't know. AB, add a little bit to that, AB, if you would.
I mean, I feel like I've said what I want to say. I mean, I'm just irritated with some of the things that we do, and I agree that this game we knew we were going to lose, and so this conversation got really heated. But I think it's because it was like, oh, we have some hope. We've won 4 games, but when you lose, it's not about losing. It's how we are losing. It's the way we are losing games that's frustrating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll go along with that to a point anyway.
I think that it's just. I think that we can say we're not as talented. I get it, but anybody can win or lose on any given day if you do what you need to do to win the games. And again, I think UVA has always been that squad. No matter who the coach has been, it's been like this for years and years and years, as long as I can remember. UVA has always been a squad that plays not to lose instead of playing to win. We play safe football. We play
the
safe
smart
football.
Kids overthink it.
We play safe football, and that's not ever going to get you where you need to be. So, and when I say smart football, I don't mean like we're just playing safe, and it's not aggressive. It's not taking risk. We're not being aggressive like we should be, because we're afraid of a turnover. You can have turnovers and still win games because you're aggressive and you're making plays happen. We're just not doing that. And so when I look at it, yeah, I didn't expect to win today, but I look at the season where we're at right now and being 4-3, and I'm like, dang, there's no way we should be 4-3.
We should be 5-2.
Yeah,
maybe 6-1. To be honest.
Yep.
To be honest, I mean, but. Sometimes, but all teams actually, to be honest, all teams go through this. All teams go through this. There's a lot of teams that are out there that wish they're 4-3. Florida State, of course, 1-6, 1-5.
Yeah.
So, a lot of people love our position that we're in. We got
I think a lot of people would trade with us.
Ain't no doubt about it. Let's see how these injuries go. Now.
I like Aaron's comment too, though, just kind of before this is the last thing I'm going to say because I got to run and do something. But I like what Aaron said about the seats.
Yeah, make them box seats. Yeah.
Yeah, like the stadium, we're doing improvements, but that stadium, in seat wise, comfortability wise, enjoyment wise, because you gotta think being comfortable, it makes things so much more enjoyable. You have a more comfortable seating. I feel like I'm at a high school game sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like we've got the money. Like, let's make it a more enjoyable experience for the fans in general, all the way around. Let's win some games.
AB say put cushions on everything.
Hey, no, I'm not saying cushions. I'm
I'd
just
settle for
saying
backs.
something. That's what I'm saying. Put some seats in that have some backs.
Yeah.
Do stuff that makes it appealing for people to come and actually just chill and enjoy a game, get some wins, spend
The,
Well,
time with your family.
you're pitching
they're
the
getting
game day
critical.
experience.
Right now, they're getting too critical right now, where they're going to have to start saying, all right, every season season member is going to have free chair backs and all kinds of stuff to get people to come back.
Yeah,
And
you're going to have to.
yeah,
You're going to have to sell. And I
yeah.
don't know that they're comfortable doing that.
No, not just asking for us to come back. They're going to have to be like, all right, we changed the stadium from a cosmetics from a standpoint. Now we got to start giving you guys, because I'm a season ticket holder. They got to start giving us, hey, everything's going to have a chair back. Everything's going to do this. You're going to get more, benefits with your Cavs card. I mean, just everything. They got to start throwing the sink.
It's not often that I agree with your friend over at the Augusta Free Press, but an apology wouldn't be a bad idea. I don't know. It's necessarily required because again, it's 20 years on. It's a little bit harder for us to get up and down stadium steps than it used to be. So that would factor into us coming back or not coming back. But again, it's the way it was handled. It left a lot of people feeling unappreciated, I guess is the best word.
Neglected, for sure.
Well, I think I told you what I told the guy from the Virginia Athletics Foundation. So my wife still hasn't forgiven me for that.
Well, let's do this, guys. We get ready to get out of here. We got on Tuesday, of course. We didn't even have Wood here. We didn't even have Amy here or Ethan. So imagine what this continuation of this conversation is going to be when, because that's what is going to happen. We're going to continue this conversation come Tuesday, and then we'll also review the North Carolina game.
I think if Wood's not here, it's for a good reason. So
right.
Because I can't believe he missed this.
Oh no, and then of course this will be our Tony Bennett venting session together on Tuesday as well. We're gonna have to talk about that.
I gotta run, guys, but y'all have a good rest of your Saturday.
Later, AB.
Bye.
But yeah, anything you got to say in closing, Ed?
Like I said, I you know what? I wish I had thought about this when AB was on here, because I would have. She's probably still listening. You know what I'm curious about?
What?
Yeah, Virginia bills themselves as an academic institution first. They're student athletes, blah blah blah, yada yada yada. I get it.
Right.
I would really like to have a sit down with some of the folks from, say, Stanford or Cal, as far as what is their fan base like?
Sure. Sure.
Stanford's put in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and Stanford does really good.
Yeah, they do really well. Cal, their football team is solid. They're not. I don't think anybody's saving a place for them in January, but they're a solid team. They almost beat Miami. What are the academic schools? How do they? Because I can't believe we're the only ones in this jackpot. I think we're as a former principal used to say, we're awfulizing and maybe we just we need to figure out what it is we want.
Yeah, well, we may have to start copying people, but
there's a pretty good example, like 3 hours down the road or just across the river from you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, the kids at William and Mary seem pretty happy, and they usually have an 8-9 win season.
Yeah.
They run a clean program. They graduate their kids. That's still a pretty good day by my standard.
Yeah. But let's talk about this. Look at Nate, Aaron. Yeah, Nate Deuce gets 5 stars. But yeah, let's do this. Let's continue this conversation come Monday, and Tuesday, and we'll
be all right.
We'll keep this fire burning. But we gotta thank you for hanging in there and being with us today. But before we go any further, we gotta go ahead and close this out. And just thank you, everybody, Antonio, Nathan, Aaron, Ethan, all my folks for tuning in and hanging out with us. But as of now, the shop is closed. Thank you, guys. We'll see you Tuesday. Still got a lot to cover, don't we? Still